Rob, you and I are both dog guys. We're both dog guys. I've had dogs my whole life. I have dogs right now. Lily and Shadow are downstairs as we speak. My dad was the vice president of the Canadian Beagle Association. Grew up with, that wasn't his job, that was his side gig. But I mean, I grew up with dogs my whole life. I'm a dog guy. You've got dogs. And only dog owners can really know just how attached and a part of a family a dog can be and become.
Yes.
Well, I saw a really sad story here and something really moving to me, actually. Apparently, we all know James Gunn is currently shooting his Suicide Squad movie. They're getting close to wrapping up there, or they may have even done it by now. But James Gunn, apparently his dog, he got word that his dog of 17 years was dying, was about to die. He stopped production on his movie, and the studio was cool with it, and the cast was cool with it. He stopped production. By the way, that may not sound like a big deal, but shutting down production on a movie costs thousands of dollars per minute. Thousands of dollars per minute. And I don't even know, I hesitate to venture a guess about how much it probably cost him overall, but so that he could go home and be with his dog when they put his dog down. And I thought that was incredibly gracious of the studio. I thought that was incredibly gracious of the cast. And I think it says a lot because, again, I get it. There are people who are not dog people that hear that and go, wait a minute, you shut down production of a whole movie over a dog. I get it. I do. I completely understand that mindset if you're not a dog owner. But James Gunn was, and at the risk, this is James Gunn's dog. It was just a beautiful looking dog. I wanted to read this, and forgive me for getting into it, but I did want to read this because this is one of the most touching things I've ever read somebody write about their dog. James Gunn wrote the following. I love this. The clip-clop of your toenails against the wood floor behind me was the soundtrack of my life. For nearly 17 years, you were with me. You spent more time, I spent more time with you than any other being on this planet. You've lived with me across the world, in Los Angeles, in London, in Malibu, in Atlanta. You roamed the sets of my films and roamed into more than one shot. You were with me through my successes and my failures, and you didn't care a whit about either of them as long as I was there for a cuddle, a belly rub, a wrestle, a walk, or a treat. Every night you would fall asleep cuddled or curled tightly against my side, and every morning you would lick my calf good morning while I peed. When I had to be away in a hotel room and couldn't sleep, I'd take a pillow from the bed and put it against my side and pretend it was you. It usually helped. Through a divorce and a chaotic single life and various relationships, you were my one true constant. And in my darkest hours, you were the slim tether of love and joy that kept me connected to this fragile life. To the world, you were Dr. Wesley Von Spears, or Von Spears. But to me, you were just Wesley. And the best friend I ever had. I love you, buddy. Thank you for making me a better man. Wesley passed away peacefully in my arms last week. The crew, cast, and studio were kind enough to allow me to shut down production in Panama and fly home to be with him. Although Jen and I are both heartbroken, Jen is, of course, Jenna Fisher from The Office, who is James's ex-wife, and Wesley was their dog together. Although Jen and I are both heartbroken, we know Wesley had an amazing long life filled with people who loved him and wise and compassionate veterinarian care. Anyway, it goes on as well. And Rob, as a dog owner, I'm reading this and I'm like, fuck Suicide Squad, who cares? I'm reading that and I was very touched. And again, I think it's only something that a dog owner can appreciate. But Rob, your thoughts, was it appropriate though? Because look, it costs a lot of money to shut down a production. What do you think about Warner Brothers being cool with James Gunn shutting it down to fly home to be with his ex-wife and their dog as their dog passed away?
Well, on one hand, as somebody, and you're a producer, it's pretty amazing. I mean, as a producer, I would say no. But on the other hand, your director is the captain of the ship. And your director sets the tone for the day. And if your director is not fully focused 100% on what's going on, what you're going to get that day, all the money that you're spending is going to be for naught if you're not getting good material. And as Mr. Gunn pointed out, That dog has been on his sets. The cast and crew of his movies know that dog. They know how much that dog means to him. And I think what they did was not only a compassionate thing to do that shows humanity where sometimes we don't see a lot of humanity, but on the other hand, I also think it was a practical business decision. And I think everybody wins. I think the studio wins. I think James Gunn and his family wins. And most of all, the audience will win because the movie is not compromised. And James Gunn, for somebody who had that deeply felt of a connection, animals, they are part of the family. And it's, people are more intimate with their dogs. I mean, their dogs lay all over them all the time. You wake up with your dogs, like James Gunn said, and when they're gone, there is a definite void in your life. So kudos to Warner Brothers for making this decision. And you know what? I can't help. I'm glad James shared this with people on social media. So there's no, you could imagine the stories, James Gunn let go, or James Gunn leaves the set, or some ridiculous thing. I mean, I think it was handled well by all involved. So, and my heart goes out to James for his loss.
Anyway, guys, how do you feel about that? By the way, maybe you're a pet owner, maybe you're not. I'm curious to know how our feelings differ based on whether we're pet owners or not. But what do you feel about James Gunn taking off to be with his family and his dog, the passing of his dog? And what do you feel about Warner Brothers being cool with it? Jump down into the comments section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys.